and the surprises just keep coming. Hello again, Flamsaronic, Tasuke here for you today. And I'm changing up the intro. I don't care. I've recorded like these three videos back to back. So to me, it's like I've uploaded them back to back, even though I'm probably going to upload them like 2 or 3 days apart. We'll see. But this was just announced as I'm recording this today on the 12th. I might upload this a little on a different day. I might even upload this one first, so I'm teasing you that I've recorded 2 other videos talking about nerd news. But during their the Nintendo Direct Mini, if you will, I think they called it a Direct Mini. I don't remember. They announced a bunch of stuff, and one of the things they announced at the very end, this was sort of like their punchline. This was kind of like their Shenmue 3 or their Final Fantasy 7 remake, if you will. Dark Souls Remastered was actually announced, and it's coming to Nintendo Switch, and it's also coming to PS4 and Xbox One, I believe Steam as well. They only showed us this little trailer, and there's just a little bit of info. The only information I got from it besides the trailer was from Siliconera. I may have to kind of do some fact checking, but based on what they described, it sounds like it might just be like a graphic upgrade, and it's going to include the Artorias of the Abyss DLC. So, that kind of sounds like it's just like a graphic upgrade with like some minor additions. With Demon Souls and Dark Souls both, I feel like those two, rather than a remaster or an HD re-release, I would prefer a remake, because I feel like graphically, Dark Souls 2 and 3 look really good, and even Bloodborne as well. So I feel like those Demon Souls and Dark Souls, and I'm only saying Demon Souls as well because I feel like they kind of go together a little bit. Plus, with the Demon Souls servers officially going down completely in February, But I feel like for both games, especially Dark Souls, since I've been Let's Playing it, I feel like the additions that were made in future Souls games were really beneficial. Like, I think in Dark Souls case, the two that I really would love them to fix are the input delay. That's really annoying, and I feel like it's at its worst in Dark Souls 1. I don't even remember it that much in Demon Souls. It was really only in Dark Souls 1 that I noticed the input delay, and that's really annoying. Because then if you make a mistake and get killed, 90% of the time I'll say if you die in Dark Souls, it's the player's fault, but there are a few times where I say that no, it wasn't the player's fault, it was the game's, weaknesses, and input delay is definitely one of them. Heck, there was even an Epic Name Bro Let's Play where he did an input delay happen when he was fighting the gargoyle and Orlando, and it killed him. He got pissed. And of course, since he does post commentary, we didn't really know until he told us. But another thing that I think would benefit from a Dark Souls that a Dark Souls remake should use, that they've learned from future games, is the whole equipment burden system, because both Demon Souls and Dark Souls 1 are really strict with the equipment burdens. So if you want to have just all of one armor set, you may be fat rolling or mid rolling, which I know they say that mid rolling has the same frames or the same speed as the fast roll. I don't buy that for 1 second, because it feels more weighty. I feel like I can't really dodge well with the fat roll. I feel like I either have to do the tank and just walk around, which thankfully Dark Souls 1 is actually really good about letting you tank and kind of circle around. That's one thing I'll give Dark Souls 1, and that's actually kind of something I sort of hope they keep. I don't want them to kind of rework everything to where you basically just have to dodge. I don't want another Bloodborne. I'd like the option of being able to just tank or do sort of the circle around thing. But I think the equipment system should maybe be updated a little bit to where you can have a full plate of armor and still be able to fast roll or whatever. Maybe that's not really realistic. I mean, this is Dark Souls, a fantasy made up game where you kill monsters and take their souls, and you can use magic, and you praise the sun, and you die, and then you come back, and then you turn into a raisin or beef jerky. It's not exactly the most realistic thing in the world. So yeah, to get back to kind of my point, I feel like Dark Souls would definitely kind of benefit from a remake, and the two things I'd want them to change would or fix would be like the input delay and like the equipment burn system. Make it a bit more like Dark Souls 2 or 3 probably would be the best way, because Dark Souls 3 is probably the closest thing to Dark Souls 1. Heck, if they just wanted to like take some of the textures and whatnot and models from Dark Souls 3 that they took from Dark Souls 1 and put it in there, that'd be cool. Um, though we did get a cool trailer here, and the term remastered seems to have kind of been altered a little bit, because I remember when in that last E3 when that one guy announced that the Crash Bandicoot was getting a remaster. He said remaster, and something like, okay, it's just gonna be like the 3 original games packed into one disc, and they're gonna be upscaled, and there like very little differences, like probably none. Turns out the entire game got like a graphic overhaul. Like, I don't even think like they just took the engine and just gave it like better graphics. I think they literally like rebuilt the game from the ground up. Like, gameplay wise, it was more or less the same, but I think some of the flow of the game was altered a little bit just because of like modern technology or whatever. But either like that was more of a remake than a remaster, in my opinion. Because to me, a remake above all else is like just upgrading everything. Like, even if like the game feels the same and they're using the same design documents or even the same engine, like if they remake stuff, it's a fucking remake. Like, if you're taking the time to make new stuff, it's a remake. It's not a remaster. And I feel like these days people kind of confuse remaster and remake. Like, I've heard some people in a Tales Facebook group call the Tales Symphonia Chronicles a Tales Symphonia remake, which it's not. It's a remaster. Because to me, a remaster is when you take the original game and you upscale it and you port it to like the latest consoles and make it work on there. And you can add stuff to it. Like, it's sort of like the 25th anniversary release of a movie that may include like a special interview with the lead actor 20 years later after he performed the role, and he tells his story and all that stuff, and he talks about what he's been doing lately and how he would love a sequel, and he hasn't heard anything, but I'd love to. And then like 10 years later they announce a sequel, and he's like, okay, cool, yeah, with like a whole new cast, but like he's the only one returning, and or he doesn't even show up until like the end or whatever. Like that's sort of what I think a remaster is. So I'm wondering if it is a full-on remake. I feel like it's kind of early though to be doing a Dark Souls remake. So that's one kind of flaw in this argument, is that like Dark Souls is it's only like what 7 years old at this point, because it came out in 2011. So like it's not that old. It's only been 7 years, and I don't know how. I don't think it doesn't really need a remake. It would help, especially if we're getting some of that cut content like the Undead King Jariel fight. That'd be awesome. But and hell, even Dark Souls 2 on PS4, they didn't call that Dark Souls 2 remaster. That was just Scholar of the First Sin. That was sort of a different situation, I think. And they even announced a trilogy box in Japan for the Dark Souls trilogy that's going to include Dark Souls Remastered, but then it's also going to have Scholar of the First Sin of Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 3 with all the DLC and whatnot. So if that comes out in North America, I might get that just for the sake of having it. I don't know. We'll have to see. But hopefully if it is a remake, they'll give us more than just like the same game, but with better graphics and better control and whatnot. Because again, I would love to have that Undead King Jariel fight. If it is just a remaster, I would love it if they would find some way to do that. This, out of the two other videos I've made, this one's actually the closest to us. It's coming out May 25th, so that's actually not that far away, to be perfectly honest. Remember, we're only in January, but time flies. So, I don't know. I'll probably wait and see. If they, I'll probably wait and look at like some gameplay footage whenever they release stuff, or maybe watch some other people play it and see. If it is just a full-on remake, I might get it because I'm like, okay, that's pretty awesome. Hopefully they'll have more than just, the simple stuff, but, who knows? I'm looking forward to it on some level. Again, like, it's sort of like a kind of a careful enthusiasm, because it's like, well, it's cool for those who didn't get a chance to play Dark Souls, and also it's going to be on the Switch, so having Dark Souls on the go, that's pretty lit. That alone would make me want to get it. I'll switch the Let's Play to that now. I'll probably make a joke about or I was thinking about making a joke like, oh, the Let's Play's canceled in the next Let's Play part, because as I've recorded this, I've recorded like a few other episodes, but or not a few, like maybe like 3 or 4 more. I think 3, but that's neither here or there. But now that I've told you I'm going to do that joke, I'm not going to do that joke. I probably still will do the joke, because I'll probably forget, because it takes a while for me to record this stuff. But I've kind of rambled long enough. Basically, I'm kind of excited about this. I would prefer a full-on remake with some updated like mechanics and whatnot that they've learned, using the stuff that they've learned from Dark Souls 2 and 3 and Bloodborne. If it's just an HD remaster, that's fine. I want an HD remaster of Shenmue, mainly so that I can, play it on modern consoles. That's the main reason. I don't like that. That we don't need at all. We don't need that at all, but it would be cool. We're still potentially waiting on that, so we'll see. Maybe we'll get some footage of this tomorrow. Not tomorrow, but in the future. But yeah, seems pretty interesting. And of course, there's the whole Shadow Dice Twice thing. I don't think I ever did a video on that. It's on the podcast. I might just wait until like the actual until we actually get a trailer for what Shadows Die Twice is. But yeah. See you guys later. This is Flamser on out.